Alright, we might get the stream started. I think we'll wait a few more minutes before we do start the stream, but I'll give you guys a brief overview of what we'll be going through before we get started. So, I'm going to put the links. I'll keep this link here floating around. It's kind of easy to see. Maybe I will just keep the streaming image up just so you have time to open up that link. You can see that link there. That link. Oops. That link. Nope. That's the one. Okay. So in that level, that'll open in Gamefroot, there will be some assets and a big empty level, and we'll go and learn a bit about level design and create our own levels. So if you guys want to get prepared beforehand, that would be good. And then I'll start off the stream, I'll introduce what we're going to do, and I'll open up that link again for everyone to see. So we'll just wait a few more minutes for people to jump in the stream before we get started. Got a few people in there, that's pretty good. Okay. Should we get started? I think we will get started. So let me just move these text things out of the way. Okay, there's my little plan. Stuff that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so I've got this plan open up just so you can see the link front and center. I'll give you guys time to go and open that link. Today we're going to be going through making a level together. Okay. So there's Gamefroot and there is our link. Okay, well let me know in the chat once I move away from this link if you need it again. We haven't done a stream where we've needed you to grab a link before, so I'll make sure I leave it up there as long as possible. Let me bring up my little intro thing. Okay. Alright, welcome to Gamefruit's Code Talk, a live digital technology stream on how to code real video games powered by real game developers. I'm Dave and I'm your host. Today we're going to be talking about level design. We're going to be looking at a popular platformer game, Mega Man 11, and a great analysis video made by Game Maker's Toolkit. And we will take some of that knowledge and go and recreate one of those levels using some pre-made assets from a level that a blank level that I've set up with some game assets, which is available from this link there that I'm highlighting. You want to make sure you go to make.gamefruit.com/games/remix/206 876. Okay, you want to make sure you open that game up. Now, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of extra time to make sure you get that link and open it up, and it should show you an empty level with some things in the sidebar. So I'm going to do that myself. make.gamefruit.com/games/remix/206876. Okay, I'm going to go away from this page now, so if you need it again, just let me know in the chat. Okay, so let's open up that game. Okay, so as I said, this game is totally blank. There's nothing in it, but it has the Na Takaro pack, which has a bunch of great game assets in there, characters and other kind of interactive objects, and it has some code pre-made for us. So we're going to combine those things plus a little bit of knowledge that we'll learn about level design. That's the focus of today's session. Okay, so level design. What kind of level are we going to be making? We will be recreating a level from Mega Man 11, and we'll also be looking at a platformer game layout from a game called Zilliard. But we'll do the Mega Man 11 one first. Okay, so there's a video here, which I should probably give you a nice big link to that as well, so you can see that. Let's... Well, I could probably just show it on stream. That'll probably be fine. Okay. Now, Mega Man 11. So this is, by the way, this is from Game Maker's Toolkit. Great, great YouTube channel. This guy has done amazing video game analysis. And this one is how Mega Man 11's levels do more with less. I'll chuck the link to this in the chat so that you can open that up as well. So there's the video. Mega Man 11. Okay, let's watch through together. Now, I've given you a timestamp that starts about 3/4 of the way through the video. He talks a lot about other things in the game, but we want to look at a certain level that we picked out. So in here, we've got this great level with flames coming in, putting pressure on the player, forcing them to move through their level. So the flames are on the left, constantly moving forwards, and the player has to navigate around these platforms. So they'll have to jump up here, get rid of this enemy here in time so that the flames don't catch up, and then they've got these enemies that they need to jump over, and then there's a bunch of precise jumps that the player has to hit, or else they would have fallen down and then the flames would have gotten them. And then there are some of these parts we have to zigzag back, so it's essential that the player gets some good timing going. And then there's a boss level. So we'll be looking more at this sequence. Okay, so I've put that video in the chat if you want to go and open it up again. As we're working through our game, it's entirely up to you. Okay, so let's go back to Gamefroot now, and in here we want to think about how we're going to recreate a section of that. So I look at what's first here. We've got our player character there. We've got some tiles that kind of step down, and then step back up, and then there's a little entrance way to the next section of the level. So I want to create this kind of a pattern. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do that using tiles. So in Gamefroot, I want to scroll down, find some tiles right there down the bottom, and I will select some tiles, and then I want to start drawing them in here into my empty game. Now it says tiles must be placed on tile map layers. So I want to go over to layers and select new tile map. Then I can place my tiles down. Now how did that look? Okay, we had a bit of this kind of thing going on, and then stepping down and stepping up again. I'm going to keep flicking back between that just so I know I'm getting it looking about right. So I'm just clicking and dragging to place these in. Now you can drag on this blue rectangle here down on the minimap to change your position in the level. Okay. I need one more there. And then that'll take me with a little bit of a drop down to a platform here. That is going to serve as the entrance to the next part of the level, and that is going to be all around here. That's going to be the next part of my level. So I'll put a few tiles there. Now we've got some tiles in. If we were to play our game now, we would see that nothing would really happen. We need to have a player character in our game. So we've just got some of the tiles that we've placed. What we want to do is go and find a player character to use. There are quite a few of them that we could use. And you don't want to put them in the tile map layer. If you do, they get squished down and they can't be programmed. So you can just delete them by right-clicking on them and selecting delete if you've put them in the tile map layer. I might make another layer. If I go to layers, new layer, type in player, and where do I want my player to start? Well, in this level, Mega Man came in from the side there, so I will put my player around here. Okay. Now, we want to give our player the player code. In that template game that I gave you the link to, there is a bunch of code in here, so we can select player code there and attach it to the player. Okay, let's play the game now, and we should be able to run around. There we go, and we can jump as well. This player controls also has wall sliding, which is pretty cool. So we can see that it feels pretty similar to the level in Mega Man. Now it's not as pretty. We haven't added in all the niceties yet, but we do have the basics of the level there. So what I might do next, before I go filling in this next part of the level, is put a background in, so that looks a little bit nicer. And then I'll put some more interactive objects in as well. Probably the most important interactive object that we saw from Mega Man here is this big wall of flames that Mega Man has to constantly keep in front of. We have an object that we can use. We have this big scary sun. That's what that looks like. So we're going to use that in place of the wall of flames. Okay, but before we go and do that, we want to get a background in our game, so let's select our background layer, find a nice background to use. It's a pretty good looking one. Pop it up there. in the background layer, so it's behind everything. If it isn't behind everything, if you've accidentally put it above everything like this, that's okay. You can just right click on it, delete it, select that background layer, and then put the background object in there. Now it doesn't have any code on it, so let's go to our code sidebar and grab our background script and attach that to the background. There we go. And it has this code which pretty much just puts it where the camera is. Okay, so we've got a background in there, looking kind of nice now. Let's just see, do we have any questions in the chat? No. Okay, good. Good. If you do have any questions, just chuck them in there and I will respond to them. Okay, so we've got our little starting layout, and here's what it looks like. And we can run around. Cool. Now what I might do is kind of close off the player so they don't accidentally run out that way. Always important to do that. You want to limit where the player can go so that you've intentionally designed the player's experience. So let's go back and grab some of those tiles here in my tile map, and I will just draw a border around all of this. So the player cannot go outside of the level bounds. Okay, good. So they're going to run down, jump up here, drop down into here, and then what's next? Let's go have a look at that Mega Man level again. Boom. The final rush after this little staircase level. And notice that there was actually a bad guy just at the end of level 13. I might go pop one in my, I might put this in my player layer. I'll find a bad guy to use. Here we go. Could use this soldier. And I want to give them the right code. Now there's a ton of code in here that you could use. Well, not a ton, but there's a selection. We want to find the appropriate code, which is patrolling enemy. Patrolling enemy. And this particular enemy patrols back and forth, but they can run off ledges. So I'm going to go and give them a bit of closed off space to run around in. So they'll hit those walls and they'll go back and forth. Okay. So we've put in some objects and we've given them code that came with our template. What do we want to do now? We want to get that big sun in there. Let's put that sun in there so the player has something to be running away from. Let's make a new layer for this. We'll call this top layer. You come up with a better name for that if you want. Top layer. And here's my sun. Now I don't want the sun to be right on the player, so I might move it back a little bit using the selection tool there to drag it around. So the sun is just behind the player. A little bit of a gap so the player has time to run away. Now how does the sun behave? Let's have a look at our code sidebar. Find chasing sun and click on the sun there, and you'll see that the sun now has that code. So we've got a player, we got the sun, we got our tiles, and we got this bad guy. Let's save our game. We'll go File, Save Game, and let's call this, well, you can really call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it Level Design for live stream. Okay, now let's test that game out. Oh, start running. There's the sun. Well, what if I let the sun catch up to me? I died and it restarts the game. So good. I want to keep ahead of the sun. But there's this bad guy. What am I going to do to the bad guy? Well, jump to avoid him, I guess. And he's wanting to chase after me. Now I have no more level, so I just had to jump off a cliff edge there. But what we want to do next is expand out our level a bit more and emulate this nice next part of the game in Mega Man 11. Okay. Okay, that's good. Now, how did that look? Okay, so there are some thin platforms that we're going to have to jump on. There's one, and then there's 1, 2, 3 short ones, and then there's another tall one. So there are 5 with 3 short ones in the middle. Okay, and then if we look at Mega Man here, it looks like there's about a body width between those platforms, and he's going to have to jump so that he doesn't fall down there. Okay, same thing with our character. Our character is about this big, which if we turn on the tile map, we can see the grid for our tiles, and our character is about 1 tile wide. So, with that in mind, let's put this little ceiling part in first, put some floor in, and then put these posts in. Okay. So if I go back to my media sidebar, I want to find some tiles. Down the bottom here, tiles. Okay. Using these tiles, and I'm going to put in that ceiling. Then we had our floor, but it was kind of a pit, wasn't it? There were these posts that you have to jump on. Now I'm using the eraser as well. The hotkey for that is E on your keyboard, and then B is to get the brush going. So I find it easy to hold spacebar to move my view of the level and drag, and then press B to swap to drawing tiles. And then if I make a mistake, I can just press E and erase. So that speeds things up quite a bit. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more, 5 up there. Okay, so the player's going to have to be jumping across those. Now, you can see we've kind of hit the edge of our level canvas here, and I do want my level to be a bit longer. So what I'm going to do about that is go to my game settings up here, and sorry, nope, that's not the right one. I'm going to go to levels, and level 1. I'm going to click on the properties there for level 1, and we can see we've got a world size. The X is how wide the world size is, and the Y is how tall it is. I want it to be wider than this. I probably want it to be about twice as wide. So this is 2880. Let's just try 5,000. 5,000, and now we can see. We go back to our media sidebar, draw some more tiles. And see, we now have a lot more space. If we zoom out, if we zoom out in our minimap, you can see that's a good size level there. Okay, before I go and do too much more, I want to test, can my player actually jump on these? Is that going to work? So I will save my game. And then I will press play. Whoops, sun caught up to me. Alright, better keep outrunning that. Now, I'd really like to shoot this bad guy. In Mega Man 11 you can shoot. We'll talk about adding fireballs in next. And yep, the player can easily make those jumps, so that is good. You do want to design around how the mechanics of the game work. So our player, if our player had tiny little jumps, then we'd have to redesign some of this, but this is working good. Okay, what comes next? Well, there's a bit of a pit there, isn't there? A bit of a big jump that Mega Man has to make there. And when they make that jump, there's then this big platform here and a bad guy. And it looks like a little power-up up there above as well. Which, if you had time, you might go up and collect. And if not, you might just ignore it. Okay, so we'll add this next section of the level in. So that was big pit, and then you need to be able to jump onto this next platform. Let's see if you're going to be able to jump over to here. I'm not sure if that's going to work. But as with anything in game design, you have to just keep testing. So I will test that soon. I'm going to spice up some of the things in my level. I'm going to add some more objects in. First, I want to make things a bit deadlier as well, so that as well as having to avoid the sun, you've really got to avoid other dangerous things in the level. So I might add some spikes. See these obstacles? I'm going to go and put those in my background layer. And I'm going to put a bunch of them in here. So as you jump down here, you have to avoid falling down and landing in there, but I don't think anyone would. But just so they know, there are spikes in the game. Okay, now I'm going to go put spikes down here as well. And then I might start using lava from the obstacles. That looks pretty cool. And then some more spikes. Now, right now, these don't have code on them. All of these objects, those spikes, that lava, those spikes, and those spikes. So I need to go to my code sidebar and grab that. What do I need? Dangerous obstacle. And just click. They all have those scripts on them. Click. So they all now have the appropriate code. Okay. And another thing I want to add in, I want to be able to shoot this guy with some magical fireballs. So I'm going to go find a fireball that I can shoot. Under effects, there's a little fireball there that'll do. I'll put that in my player layer, near my player. And the code for that is going to be shoot fireballs. Shoot fireballs. Okay. You can jump. And what were we going to add in the next section? Right, okay, there's that pit. Now, I don't know if I need to put anything dangerous in there. If you fall in this pit, we might show some mercy to the player. We've got something in our game objects here. We've got a ladder. How about we give them a ladder? There we go, under objects. I'm going to put this in the background layer. There's a ladder there. So they should be able to jump up, grab it, and then climb up. Now, the ladder has its own code. So we've got a code and grab that ladder code and put it on the ladder. Okay. I'd like to flesh out more of my level, but I have added quite a few things in, so I should really test them out. If I play that, and that's after the pit. And then we have a little collectible up there. So let's put another bad guy in there. put that on the player layer, just so it's above everything else, but behind the top layer. And I'm going to give that object the code for patrolling enemy. And then in my tiles, I wanted to have some more tiles that let you jump up above there, and then there was going to be a collectible object. Collectible object. That coin is a decent collectible object. And I might put that up here. And again, it needs some code, right? So if we go to our code, we can see we have collectible code. So I'll put that on the coin there. Okay, how much more could we go and do? We could probably do the next section and then talk about going to the next level. Okay, so we've kind of got this these steps, stepping up. So let's do that. We go to media and to our tiles. Once you jump down here in our tile map, we'll add some of that stepping up. And then once you have stepped up to the top, we are going to have I want to have some way of taking the player to the next level. And I'm thinking I might have something that looks kind of like a dock. Some water. And then there will be a boat on that. There will actually be a walker on that. I've hit against the edge of my level again, so I'm going to go up to my levels sidebar, and I just want to expand out the sea a little more here. So I'm going to make the world size for level 1 6000x, and I can go and draw some more tiles here, just so you don't see the sea getting cut off. Okay, so stepping up, and there was a bad guy in here, wasn't it? Yeah, there's a bunch of bad guys. Okay, so let's go and put some. I might actually interpret these bad guys just as static flames, and I might put them on the background layer. Static flames that you have to jump over. That could be pretty cool. Okay, and because they are dangerous obstacles, I'll give them that dangerous obstacle script. Okay, cool. Jumping up, jumping up, jumping up. This final part here, let's make that a walker. So, objects that we have, we've got a walker here. I'm going to put that here. And then there's going to be a pretty imposing figure standing here, ready to take you across the waves to your next level. Now, how are they going to take you to the next level? Well, again, let's look at the code we've got. Go to next level. Let's put that on that guy. Go to next level. And the walker as well, I'm going to just make it a solid object. So I'll give it that solid object code. The reason why I've made sure all of my objects have code is if they didn't, and I ran into them, I'd just push them out of the way. So I want to make sure everything has code. Except for the tiles, you can't code tiles. Okay, I'm going to go see if I can beat this level and get to this guy who will send me to the next level. And obviously I'm going to need another level to go to the next level. So I'll click on this plus up here next to level 1. So now I have a second level. We'll talk about our second level in a bit. I'll just make sure I can beat this first level. Okay. Oh, forgot to shoot that guy, didn't I? Here we go, got him. And there's that guy, he must have fallen down. So I'll just jump over these. Whoa, he's chasing me. Take me to the next level, and he did. He took me to the next level, and it's just blank. So, okay, let's talk about our next level, and then we might wrap up the stream after this. I'll get you started on the next level. Now, this next level, we're going to use a tracer object that we have in this Natakaro pack. If we go down the bottom, we've got tracer maps. And if we click anywhere in here and then drag it around to position it, get it up in the corner there, and then I can zoom out to get an idea of what the level layout looks something like. We've got this gray pattern for where we should place our tiles. Now, the idea here is that you can just draw your tiles over the top of that and then delete this object when you're done with it. And the layout here is based on a level from a platformer game called Zeliard, which is an old school computer game, one of the earliest platformer games. So let's see if we can draw some tiles in here. Remember, we want to make a new tile map layer, and then we can draw tiles in just by clicking, dragging. And this is how you can start designing levels based on other level layouts. Cool. Well, if there are any questions in the chat, I will address those. One other thing, you got to make sure that your second level also has a player in there. So I've made a new layer called that player, and then popped my player character in here, and make sure it has that code as well. If there's no player in this level, then you won't be able to play. Okay, so I'll give that a brief test, and then I might leave the rest of that second level up to you. Let's make sure I can get to the end here. Pretty easy. I mean, it's pretty easy for me, but I'm quite good at these kind of games. So you might want to get all kinds of people to test your game. Once you've played your own game for a while, you get pretty good at it. You might want to get your mum or dad or friends to test it out as well and see how well they are at beating it. Because you might think, wow, it's really easy. I should make it a lot harder. But then someone else goes and plays it and they get totally demolished by your design. So that is how to design a level in Gamefroot. Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. We'll wrap the stream up here, and we will see